What's going on, everyone? So many of you may be familiar with Chael Sonnen, who was a MMA fighter, UFC fighter. He was kind of like the first real public bad guy, right? He was kind of like the Conor McGregor before the Conor McGregor, had some great fights. Many of you may remember from the Ultimate Fighting Champ, where he fought Wanderlei Silva. That was quite a meme and just a big spectacle for quite some time. And he also now has his, the Bad Guy Inc. He, again, kind of the brand name of the bad guy. He really embraced that role early on. He loved to just talk smack and just kind of provoke people, right? He kind of was the showman. He was the guy that went out there and did all that. And he now has his own show, does a podcast. I'm actually a fan of his. I watch his show, not like heavily, but from time to time on certain stuff, and was a fan of him in his fighting days. But regardless, he has made quite some interesting accusations lately. He recently talked about his fight with Jon Jones, right? So Sonnen was a guy that got suspended for using PEDs. And he even said, hey, I knew Jon Jones' secret. Jon Jones, he's using substances. He's doing this. He's doing that. And now he's making accusations that Lebron James is on substances. And he said over on the Flagrant Andrew Schultz podcast, MMA legend Chael Sonnen, who once served a 2-year suspension for competition for PED infractions, claims that LeBron James is on the performance-enhancing drug. I'm not even going to try to say that. Erythropoietin, hopefully I got that right, but EPO. Sonnen made the claims during the podcast appearance on Andrew Schultz Flagrant 1, and he says this: if the world understood what LeBron did, if you knew what these performance enhancers did, then you would know why it does matter. We have the same drug guy. I know exactly what he's doing. EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. EPO increases your red blood cells, which gives you endurance so you can play all game long. Now, again, these are very high and heavy accusations, right? Because LeBron James is at a pinnacle that very few have ever reached. Chael Sonnen never won anything major. He was never the guy. He was kind of like the Nate Diaz, if you're familiar with MMA. Like Nate Diaz, people just love to watch him brawl. He's never been the guy, but he's always been kind of that fan favorite. He's always been that guy, right? In that regards. That was basically Sonnen, right? LeBron James is arguably, if not the greatest basketball player ever, one of the greatest sports athletes ever. LeBron James, as well as these players in the league, get tested regularly. Damian Lillard recently had an interview, and he talked about how after his 71-game performance, they tested him twice, right, back to back. And he talked and actually gave us insight that says, you get tested, you get the P test, I think he said 6 times or something like that, and then you get the blood work 3, 4 times, whatever. Now, for LeBron to do something like that, with the career and accomplishments and achievements that he has done, for something like that to happen and that get exposed would completely destroy his legacy. And the biggest thing that LeBron has is legacy, right? LeBron has been crowned the king since he was in high school. This guy was a freak athlete coming out of high school and immediately dominated the NBA. This guy spends more money on his body than Chael Sonnen's made in his entire career. This guy literally spends every year on maintaining his body through trainers and stuff. And look, are they using some kind of enhancements? Possibly, but not to that degree, right? They're not using any illegal substances here. Chael Sonnen's making huge accusations of LeBron James, basically saying that the only reason he is at the level that he is at is because of these substances, and that's how he's able to play all game long. He is tested regularly. This guy has all the resources in the world to do what he does. And yes, it is incredible what LeBron has been able to do with his age and how many years he's been in the league. But you're starting to see the wear and tear. you're starting to see the breakdown here a little bit. His game himself hasn't really fallen off like too much, but his shot isn't really there. His legs aren't really underneath him as much as they once were. The athleticism you can see kind of slipping. Injuries are becoming a lot more apparent. All of those things. LeBron could retire tomorrow and he will forever be considered one of, if not the greatest players ever. What would be the point of him now, all of a sudden, doing these enhancement drugs to what? His legacy is set, right? Like, but he still has several more years in this league. He wants to play with his son. He doesn't need, like, look, most teams, like, if he wanted to, he could just be a guy on a roster if he really wanted to, and nobody's going to knock him for that, right? Like, this guy is at a pinnacle unlike we've ever seen before. And he's not the first athlete to be to this level, right? Like, it's just in the game of basketball, the longevity and the level in which he's playing for as long as he's played has been incredible. But like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played just as long and has the all-time scoring record. It was still a key contributor into his 40s. He played what, till he's 41, 42? Was a key contributor. You have freak athletes in all sports that have just done incredible feats. Sometimes athletes are just good. Sometimes athletes don't need to do drugs. Sometimes athletes don't need certain things. Now, was there an injury or something that he maybe had to take some stuff to get taken care of? Possibly. I don't know all the ins and outs, but it's a huge accusation you're throwing out there with no real evidence other than like, I know a guy, right? And LeBron's not dumb enough to not go through whatever channels. Like if LeBron, like say he had some damage to something, right? He had some injury in which he had to take, some substance, right? It would have gone through the channels. LeBron's not going to just put something in his body that's going to affect his entire legacy. So if he did do anything, it would have been approved by the NBA. And I don't think he did. I don't know. I don't know LeBron personally. I mean, Chael Sonnen could be right. It's just, again, it's just really strange and odd that Chael Sonnen's just running around these last like week or so and has just been throwing out these accusations about all these other athletes that are just better than him. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just jealousy, if he's just talking just to talk to get some attention or what, but you're making some very, very heavy accusations on LeBron James that I don't know why. Like, what's the point? Why wouldn't you say this earlier? Why now out of all these times? Why would you bring this up now? Right? Like, for what? There's usually a reason. A rhyme or reason. You know what? He's just trying to expose the industry or something? I don't get it. And look, I'm not familiar with the drug. I don't know what the drug is. I don't know if you're even allowed to take the drug, right? But again, I just don't see LeBron James ever risking losing his legacy over that when he could retire today and that's it. His legacy is set. He's the all-time scoring champion. He's arguably the greatest player to ever play the game. He's got championships, he's got MVPs, he's got finals MVPs, he's done it all. The guy has been at the highest level of the game of anybody. But we've seen other players in other sports and even the NBA that have played at high levels late into their careers. And I mean, what is Tom Brady doing substances too? Because he played, is more than he's been alive, right? Like Serena Williams, Bo Jackson, right? Like how many of these guys do you think are actually doing stuff, right? And again, it's not like LeBron gets tested regularly, as do all NBA players and athletes. It's mandatory. It's regulated. You have to get tested X amount of times. There's also random drug tests. Every time you see somebody score more than 20 points, the NBA goes and drug tests them repeatedly. So you don't think that they've done random drug tests to LeBron James this year? You really don't think that? I would be shocked if they didn't. LeBron James at 38 years old in year 20 is averaging 30 points per game, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, whatever he's averaging. And You're telling me that you don't think that the NBA has drug tested him at all this year? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't see that being the case. If you were ever going to continuously randomly drug test LeBron James, it would be this year. But the guy has done it his entire career. He did it last year. Like, it's like, why now? Why all of a sudden would he decide to do this? It makes no sense. Usually when players do that, it's because there's a reason, right? I'm not the was, or, you know, I want to, I'm just another guy, but I want to be the guy. So let me take this stuff so I can be the guy. There's usually a reason for it. LeBron James has been a model of consistency every single year, the last several years. And, you know, injuries are a part of the game. He's missed games. Like, even if Sonnen is right, and he's doing it so he could play out games, LeBron's missed a ton of games. It hasn't really helped him very much. And look, players get all kinds of, like, when they go in the back, they're getting cortisone shots, they're getting all kinds of stuff to keep them in the game. You know, you see a guy, they hurt their ankle and they come back in and they're sprinting like it's nothing. They're on painkillers, they're on all kinds of stuff, right? But all of it is sanctioned, all of it is okay, right? There's not a doubt in my mind that LeBron hasn't taken stuff that is sanctioned that he's allowed to take to, you know, make the pain go away or whatever, or takes a shot or whatever it is, right? All athletes do it, all of them, right? But they're not like performance enhancing. It's just to, like, yeah, your ankle is the size of a football, but you need to still play. I'm going to shoot this into you so you don't feel no pain and you can go out there and play. You know, like, that's what it is. It's not to it's not to make them better. And, like, why would LeBron need to take something to make him better? Right? Like, everybody that believes that he's the greatest ever are all going to believe he's the greatest ever, no, regardless. Anybody who doesn't at this point probably never will. LeBron could probably win the next 5 NBA championships, and he probably will never be considered the greatest player ever to those people, right? So, it doesn't make any sense. LeBron's not stupid. LeBron's not going to throw away his entire legacy, everything he's built. He has been the most squeaky clean athlete we have ever seen. As far as, like, the pressure and being the guy and crown the king and all of this, that, and the other, all the stuff we have heard and seen about LeBron James coming into the league, he has handled it better than anybody ever. This guy doesn't have as much as, like, a traffic ticket. Like, the guy is as squeaky clean as it gets. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. I don't see it. And again, it's a big accusation that's being thrown around without any kind of proof other than, like, I know a guy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a real thing? Do you think it's not? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it.